Anuja Melissa. Thank you so much for inviting me to share my thoughts today. Hi, everyone. I really, really wish we could be doing this over a cup of signature Godrej One coffee. I cannot even begin to tell you how much I miss it and what a learning it has been for me to make my own coffee. Almost like got me off tea and coffee altogether. But I hope you guys are really well. And I just want to start by saying that I miss you. And I'm just like sending you a big hug wherever you are. Now, the last 3 months, they felt like the longest time in my life. And as honestly as scary as they've been in parts, I don't think there's been a time when I felt more grateful. I want to take a couple of minutes just to share with you where I am right now in my life. So the last 6 months have been a time of much introspection for my family and myself. My mother was diagnosed with advanced cancer, so it's been a bit of a battlefield since then. But I think times like these also really get you started on thinking on what are the things that matter the most. And the one thing I can tell you is that as much as you plan, life's going to have a whole other plan for you. Now, the thing about reflections is that it's a little bit like memories. You never really know when you're making a memory. It just happens, and then you look back and you're like, I wish I had just stayed in that hug a little bit longer, or gone out for that dinner, or danced into the night. And reflections are like that too. You wake up one day and you feel a little bit deeper, a little bit more grounded, and a little bit stronger. I've started feeling like that a bit. So I thought I would like to take the liberty of sharing 4 aspects that I'm thinking about these days in a little bit more depth than I would have otherwise. But before I get to that, if there's one thing you take away, it's this. My sister-in-law gave me this book as a birthday present in March, and it's incredible. It's called The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. I've always personally believed that there's a time for everything, and when you least expect it, the universe conspires to give you these little nudges. This book is a little nudge for me. Here, let me just show you this. Not only does it have all of this lovely handwritten stuff in it, it's beautifully illustrated. Please buy it. If there's one thing you take away from this, is please buy this book. It's a wonderful read with your children, with your grandparents, with your parents, with your spouses, with your partners, with yourself. I will take the liberty of sharing a couple of my big learnings from this book as well. But back to what I've been thinking about. So the first is kindness. The thing that scared me the most in the last 3 months was that every plan I made, every structure I had, every care system I had set up fell apart. And it's been at a time like this when I've been bowled over by the complete kindness of strangers, by nurses who were holding your hand, by the pharmacist who knew your name, by a taxi driver who bothered to turn up. It's incredible how at a time that was so scary, complete strangers reached out with kindness. It's taught me actually to open myself up to a little bit more kindness. I'm sure you have stories of your own. The other part is I had a friend who, when all of this started, first told me, Vandana, I hope that you will learn how to do something nice for yourself every now and then through all of this. And I didn't quite realize what Kuhu meant then, but today I do. You see, we want to be strong for someone else. You can't do it without being good to yourself. So if you want to pass on kindness, don't wait for kindness to come to you always. Start with being kind to yourself. I know that sounds a little bit esoteric, but personally, it's been very, very, very important for me. Now, the next piece is around bravery. This is a time to be scared. It's okay to be scared. I have been really, really scared, right? But I think the thing is, if you really, really want to get out of it, then the most brave thing you can do is to put up your hand and say, I'm scared, I don't have the answers. I have done this repeatedly. And quite honestly, for things where I was too embarrassed to tell everyone I was scared about, I at least said it to myself before I went to sleep at night. I always find that when you talk about things that you're scared about, they become a little bit less scary because you feel like you're working through them. The second part on bravery for me has been, and again, I fundamentally believe this. I believe that when you're put in trying situations, someone's also giving you the strength to draw from in some form or the other. You just have to get past the fear to look for it. I realized that at a time like this, it was best that I didn't pretend to pick up a new skill. I just went back to what I did well. And I felt that the one thing I could bring to the table was structure. So I wrote down every damn thing that was scaring me, and I had my plan A, B, C, D, E work. I'm not saying they could all work out well, but I am saying that when I articulated it, when I tried to do it in a way that I understood it, it helped. So if you're feeling scared right now in any form, don't wait for the answers to come to you. Sometimes working your way through a situation by just thinking through it, it can really, really help. The third point is to be surprised. This was not a time for answers, okay? So I have been surprised by how much I thought I knew that was completely not true, and how much I thought I knew that is completely true. How much stuff I thought I couldn't do that I can do, and how much stuff I couldn't do that I really can't still do. But it's been about surprise, and I think there are two ways of taking surprise. You can either look at it as shock and let it scare you, or you can take it as a surprise and learn to grow from it. And the one thing that I have surprised myself with a little bit is actually my ability to cook. So as part of my new plans, the ones I was telling you that I detailed, I realized that my math meant that I couldn't let the cook into the house. There are many stories my friends can tell you about Maggie made in a pressure cooker that exploded, about eggs that didn't quite boil. So cooking full-time for the whole house was more than just terrifying. I'm also a diehard non-vegetarian, but I can't bear to see dead meat. So a lot of this put together, I think my biggest battles are being fought currently in the kitchen. And guess what? Nobody had food poisoning. And it's actually come out rather well. So I have surprised myself, I think, on that front. So if you're ready to surprise yourself, things will happen. The fourth. I think many of you will join me on this one. But love. I think nothing is more powerful, and just nothing is more terrifying. And I think the deepest part here is that love's not what you think it's always going to be. Love's not about the pretty holidays and, the laughter and the hugs and the good time. I think the big learning for me is how love just comes to you in so many forms. Love is when it's okay to get burnt in the kitchen because the water and the oil don't make the best combination, but you still have to stand there anyway. I think love is standing in queues over and over again. I think love is not asking questions. I think love is sending you a working desk and chair instead of sending you jewelry. I think love just comes in so many different unplanned forms. And I don't think there'll be a bigger motivator. And I think especially at a time like this, I've had to sit back and ask myself, what do I love the most? What do I value the most? And what are the few things that I don't think I can really live without? I'm very privileged to say that I actually found the answers at home. And for that, I am deeply, deeply grateful. I believe that the last couple of months have started some kind of a tipping point for me. I agree very much with Parmesh when he says that we shouldn't be looking for a new normal. I think what we're looking for is a better normal, a better world, a bigger ask. And I think for me, the question is going to be, how do I give back? What is it that really matters to me? And where do I want to really spend my time and spend my heart? And before you go, there are just two things I want to leave you with. So the first is, when the big things feel out of control, focus on what you love right under your nose. You will find in that the most power and the most love that you may possibly need. And the last piece I want to leave you with is this. What do we do when our hearts hurt? Asked the boy. And I felt like this so often in April. We wrap them up with friendship, shared tears and time, till they wake hopeful and happy again. And I hope you find the friendship, shared tears and time, because I think I have started finding it, and I think it's overall making me a stronger and better person. So I send you love, bravery, surprise, and kindness wherever you are today. And I hope very much to be able to meet you in person very soon. Bye-bye. Don't forget the book.